So what if the old rules for building wealth, work hard, save your money, are actually the very things holding you back? Today, we're going to break down a whole new blueprint for abundance. We're going to tear down those old ideas and lay out a completely new 3-layer architecture for success. Let's get into it.
Right off the bat, this is the core belief we're challenging. It's a pretty provocative statement, right? Because it's the story most of us have been told our entire lives. But according to this framework, that story isn't just wrong, it's actually a trap. And here is the absolute key insight. The system, as it exists, isn't built to reward your personal labor. It's built to reward the people who control the flow of information, of capital, of attention. Seriously, just getting your head around this one shift in perspective is the key that unlocks everything else we're about to cover. Okay, so if the game is all about controlling flow, why do so many of us feel, stuck? The answer isn't out there. It's in here. Before we can even think about building outwards, we have to do some digging on our own inner foundation. Because a lot of the time, it's filled with these subconscious blocks that can sabotage our success before we even get started. And this brings us to a really powerful concept, financial trauma. Now think of this not as some kind of personal failing, but as a subconscious protective protocol. It's your own mind, usually based on something that happened in the past, basically believing that wealth is not safe. And so it actively works to stop the flow of money to try and keep you safe.
This quote just illustrates that internal conflict perfectly. Money, as a form of energy, naturally wants to grow, to expand. But our bodies, our actual nervous systems, are often wired for scarcity, for contraction, because of past trauma. It's like this physiological tug of war happening inside all of us.
All right, so with that internal groundwork understood, now we can start to build. We begin with layer 1 of the architecture, the launchpad, and this is all about creating a secure material core for your life.
This energy stabilization field? I mean, what a fantastic metaphor for layer 1. Think about it. You're creating an environment where your mind is totally freed up from all that low-level anxiety about basic survival. It's about achieving cognitive freedom so you can actually focus on high-level, high-value work.
Now, this is a massive mindset shift. We're all taught to see comfort as the prize you get at the end of the race, right? This model says, nope. Comfort, and by comfort we mean stability and security, is the fuel you put in the car before the race even starts. It's an operational necessity, not some far-off luxury.
And here's what that stabilization field looks like in the real world. This is not about extravagance. It's about eliminating the mental drag of insecurity. I mean, when you're not constantly worried about your home or your health or just your ability to get around, your brain is finally free to create and to strategize.
I just love this summary. It perfectly captures the whole point of layer 1. The goal isn't just to get comfortable and then stop. The goal is to build a rock-solid platform that you can then use to launch something much, much bigger.
So once that launch pad is secure, it is time to build the engine. This is the active layer. This is where you create a system that turns your unique value into a consistent, sustainable flow of income.
The income conversion circuit. This is the actual mechanism that makes sure your ideas, your skills, your creativity, that they don't just stay as symbolic potential. This is the wiring that connects your talent to tangible financial results.
And this table just lays out the required identity shift perfectly. You have to move from being a craftsman, where your value is tied directly to the hours you work, to becoming an ecosystem designer, someone who creates systems and assets like intellectual property or digital products that actually work for you.
And this is the feedback loop that powers the whole engine. You take your creative ideas and turn them into capital, and then you reinvest that capital to fuel even bigger, better ideas. It's a really powerful, self-reinforcing cycle of growth. So what does this all really mean? That's the transformation right there. You stop just working in your talent, and you start building a system around your talent. You become its CEO, its architect, not just its worker bee. Okay, and now we get to the final and honestly, the most expansive layer of the architecture. Once the launch pad is stable and the engine is humming, the focus shifts away from just personal wealth to collective impact and to legacy.
This is the ultimate vision. It's not about isolating yourself on some island of wealth. It's about creating an island of collaboration, a carefully curated community built with people who share your purpose, where you can all amplify each other's work.
At this level, your primary role completely changes. You're no longer just managing assets or looking at spreadsheets. Your real job becomes managing the narrative,
the vision, the purpose, and the impact of your whole group, because that story ultimately is way more permanent than the capital itself.
And this is just a profound reorientation of everything. Money stops being the thing you chase. Instead, it becomes a natural byproduct of the value your ecosystem creates. And more importantly, it becomes the resource that gives you the freedom, the room to maneuver, to truly pursue your vision.
To make this more concrete, think of it like a cultural version of a holding company. So instead of managing a portfolio of financial assets, this intellectual holding company connects, supports, and grows a portfolio of creative people and their projects.
So there you have it, 3 distinct, interconnected layers that build on each other.
Let's just recap that entire architectural journey. Step 1, you secure your launchpad. You create that stable foundation. Step 2, you build your engine to turn your value into a consistent flow. And finally, step 3, you direct that flow to build a lasting legacy.
And why go through all this trouble? What's the philosophical goal here? It's about becoming strategically brilliant without losing the heart and the passion that got you started in the first place. It's about learning to wield power and resources effectively while staying absolutely true to your core.
So, the blueprint is now in your hands. It gives you the structure, the strategy, and the right sequence. The only question left is the one that only you can answer. What story, what kind of legacy are you going to build with it?